Welcome to another Demarcation Media Mega Construx review. Or maybe I should be saying Mega Bloks review for this one, because today we're going to be looking at the 2010 exclusive Cyan Spartan. Now, I was not collecting Mega at the time, so I'm going to be going into this with absolutely no nostalgia for the old figures. Typically, I don't even really like the old figures that much just because they don't have as many posing options. Although a lot of the times they did have really, really nice paint and like a wash and stuff. I also don't know exactly where this was given out. I think this was a Halo Fest thing, but I'm not really sure because, again, I was not collecting at the time. But just looking at the packaging right off the bat, this is super interesting because it's like a hard cardboard envelope. No plastic packaging here. It's like cardboard. So that's not something we really see anymore. We got limited edition Spartan. He's got his dual magnums. Pretty nice backdrop. Mega Bloks branding. Overall, the packaging actually looks really cool. Around the back, we get to see, I guess that was 2010's wave of sets. We got the Gremlin there, like the first Snow Hog, Short Sword, Wolverine, Brute Chopper. That's an interesting wave of sets. There's like a lot of white. Although I think the Short Sword is more silver, but I guess they show it as white. Yeah, really, really interesting packaging. But the packaging is not the reason why we're here. Alright, let's go ahead and open this. If you guys saw my haul video with this in it, you'll know I got this from Simon over on the domain. He got his hands on like an absolute boatload of these things. And I was buying some stuff from him. He was like, hey, do you want to get one of these as well? And at first I was like, I don't know, because it is old style figure. But this is kind of a piece of Mega Construx history right here. So I decided, you know what, might as well go ahead, get one, and take a look. There we go. It opens up like so. And it literally is an envelope, like cardboard envelope. All right, we got all the contents out. You could reseal this if you want. It's in a bag. Can I just tear this open? Not really. Can I get my knife and use my knife? I don't want to cut the paper. Okay, I think I've got myself a rip. Let's see here. Come on. There we go. And then our Spartan is inside another bag. Now, these magnums, I'm pretty sure, are slightly larger than the ones we have now. Ooh, that's a nice brick, actually. Nice and marbled. And then we've got like a little pamphlet thing here. Look at that. Dragon's Universe and Iron Man 2. Wow, that is some old stuff right there. Oh my gosh. Please read the instructions carefully before first use. There's no instructions here. What am I supposed to read? It's just telling me choking hazard and then it's an ad. There's nothing to carefully read and keep for future reference. Is that just like generic text that they put on? Like there's nothing here, Mega. What are you trying to tell me to do? There are no instructions because there's absolutely like no building involved other than giving this dude his weapons. Come on. I still haven't found my normal X-Acto knife, which is why I'm using this giant knife here. Okay, let's see. Is this enough for me to tear the rest? Oh, I'm not very smart right now. Look at this. There was a little tear tab there the entire time, and I was sawing at it with that giant knife. But there's our Spartan out of his package. Now we need to do the complicated building process of handing him his weapons. Oh, look at this. He's still got the sprue on there. That's not something I've seen before from Mega. Usually the sprue isn't left there. Let's give him his thing. Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, here's our figure all out of the package. The blue is actually a really nice color. He's got this cool wash over the whole figure that I really wish Mega still used this kind of a wash. I mean, that looks fantastic. He's got some fairly decent paintwork. From this angle, he looks fine. And then when you turn it here, look at that. Half of his visor is just 100% unprinted. Dang, how disappointing is that? Look at that. It's just not there. Like, not poorly printed. It's literally just not there at all. Gosh, that sucks. There's his weapons. So here is the current Magnum. Okay, so this was when they had already changed the weapons down to a smaller size, or the Magnum never was a giant one, because I know there used to be a giant shotgun and whatnot. So maybe this was before that. Somebody who's been collecting longer than I have, maybe you can tell me, is there large Magnums out there, or is that just like some of the bigger weapons? The brick is really cool looking, nicely marbled. I guess this is basically just his stand. Yeah, the figure would be pretty interesting overall. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the articulation. I think the new guys are just so much better. But this dude is really interesting. It's just he's really missing his entire half of his visor. He's like Two-Face. So that's a bummer. That's Mega's quality control definitely, I mean, it still has some issues, but it definitely had, I feel like, tended to have more back then. I don't know. That's a little weird. I figured that this, I guess I just figured that the visor print would be fine. Usually on these older articulation figures, they are. But yeah, I mean, overall, he's pretty cool. It's just, that's quite a bummer about the visor. Just for kicks, I figured I'd drop in the more modern version of the Cyan Spartan. Keep in mind that this dude over here, this was a kind of a custom that I did. This is my first ever Spartan figure. So I've done some things to him. Like, I've given him a wash. I gave him a visor outline with a Gundam panel liner pen. So you'll see some more detail here than what the figure will actually have. But I figured that he would be a decent comparison because we can kind of see what the modern Cyan Spartan would look like with the wash. The proportions of the newer dude are definitely a lot more realistic. The old guys had pretty big heads. Big heads, small bodies, kind of big legs. But yeah, it's kind of just interesting to see how far Mega has come with their figure design. There's definitely still some pros about the old figures, but overall, the newer guys, definitely Mega made the right choice in going that direction. Well, there you have it. That is the exclusive Cyan Spartan from the 2010 something, Halo Fest, Comic-Con. I don't remember. Somebody in the comments, please tell me, what event was it that this guy was given away at? So overall, really interesting figure. Like I said, kind of a piece of Mega Construx history at this point. I honestly don't know how hard it is to get your hands on one. I haven't done a ton of eBay research or Mercari and all that. Because, again, old articulation is just not something I really pay as much attention to. But I would definitely give it a look on those sites. I honestly wouldn't pay more than like $10 for this guy, especially since you run the risk of potentially getting some really severe misprints like what this guy has. Overall, really neat figure. Definitely not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It's certainly not like my cup of tea exactly, because again, I really love the extended like movement that the arms get of the new guys, like just how much posing that they can do for such a small figure. These old guys feel pretty limited to me. And again, I'm collecting in the kind of newer phase of things, so I have no nostalgia or any of that connected to these older figures, so it's kind of just like a downgrade to me. But I know for a lot of people, this is like the symbol of like the good days of Mega and like when people were first collecting them and all that kind of stuff. So for a lot of you guys who have been collecting for a long time, this is probably a figure you'd want to have in your collection. But if you're like me and you're fairly new to the scene, then you really would only want to get this guy just so you could have that little bit of Mega Construx history. Otherwise, there's plenty of other figures out there that are just as cool. So that's kind of the bottom line. If you were collecting in the old days of Mega Construx, this dude is probably a must-have. If you weren't, then he's probably an easy pass. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.